Hey yo, it's Marto. This morning we're going to start a campaign. So, in the past two mornings, we started with an Ostrogothic campaign that was rough but was going well, and I forgot to save it in Attila. And then we started a campaign in, the Vandals in Attila, and it was going well at first, and then if you caught the end of my stream yesterday, it completely fell apart as I got wrecked from all sides by an inopportune declaration of war and another faction that wouldn't take peace for an answer. So that kind of ended on a low note. I dipped. Maybe it was salvageable. I don't know. But I've been reading. Again, part of the reason I did the Ostrogothic campaign is I've been reading um, a book about the fall of the Roman Empire, um, named such by Peter Heather, I believe is his name. I'd have to go back and look. And one of the things he talked about was the reforms of Gallienus and Aurelian's resurgence of the empire. He hasn't spent a lot of time on it, but how they basically brought it back despite the fact that it was on the verge of collapse during the crisis of the 3rd century. And it made me think, you know what? I need to give the Empire Divided campaign another shot. Now, this is vanilla. I thought about a Divide et Impera campaign, but I decided against it. And we're going to play this as Rome, true Rome. Notice it says Rome versus Gallic Rome and Palmyra. It doesn't give a qualifier because this Rome was very much true Rome. It was what was left of the empire. I believe between Gallienus and Aurelian there was a Claudius, I believe, but I could be wrong. During the crisis of the 3rd century, there was something like 50 emperors in 30 years. It was between the successor states and emperors getting assassinated and murdered and dying in invasions and war. It was a mess. But Aurelian was a lifelong military soldier, and Gallienus actually did a lot to help save the empire himself, but he was never able to reconquer the breakaway states. Gallienus, I think, had something like 30 revolts during his reign, during one emperor's reign. But he did accomplish some major things, walling many cities, reorganizing the legions in the first major reorganization since the Marian reforms. He established the Comitatances as a mobile force to respond to border crises, walled and fortified the borders, which later became the Limitani, which I can't remember if that was him or not. I'm just an amateur Romanophile, not a historian or anything. So anyway, he basically helped stem the bleeding a little bit, but he was not able to reconquer anything. Palmyra had been acting as an independent entity for some time, and when the governor of sorts died, his wife basically declared their independence as a Queen Zenobia in the east. And they were short-lived as a completely independent empire, only like 3 or 4 years, which I am not going to be able to reconquer them in 3 or 4 years. This is a very difficult campaign. But they also had been acting independently for some time. And the Gallic Empire, which included parts of Hispania, lasted for like 14 years. And they, interestingly, never tried to conquer Rome. They were content to be independent. They lost Hispania at some time. And then later on, Aurelian came in, put them down, and took the 3rd or 4th emperor of the Gallic Empire and gave him some clemency. So I'm going to play this on normal because the initial challenge is hard. It's a very challenging campaign. I've started it several times before, only once with success. So this might end in disaster like my Vandal campaign. Or it might be a hard slog at the beginning. Defenders of Civilization, 15% morale for all units during battles in own or allied territory. And then True Rome. So this is a very defensive campaign. It's not quite Western Roman Empire bad, but it's not great. True Rome. Roman factions share a major diplomatic penalty with other Roman factions. So the Gallic Empire and Palmyra are not particularly fond of me. We have enemies on all sides. The Gothi are going to be attacking us. The Marcomanni may well be attacking us. The Eastern Empire will probably leave us alone because we have the buffer of Palmyra. The Matic tribes, thankfully, the Scythians, or Alani, excuse me, are kind of doing their own thing. The Caledonians are doing their own thing. They'll be more of a problem for Gallic Rome. But the initial challenge to Rome will just be consolidation and surviving. Let's see, Iron Fist, 50% resistance to foreign occupation when we occupy a non-Roman city. I don't know if that applies to the two factions, the Gallic or Empire, if they're considered foreign or not, since they are Roman, but they're not Roman. And 15% movement range for all armies, which frankly isn't enough, but okay. I don't know. Here, let's go ahead and go. I believe there's a cutscene at the beginning.
To the north, Roman impostors, led by Tetricus, grow ever stronger. To the east, the usurper Queen Zenobia marches her armies into our lands. This is unacceptable. Give us an emperor from humble beginnings. Give us a leader our armies will follow. Give us Emperor Aurelian. Emperor Aurelian, you face a crisis most dire. Barbarian hordes swarm along our borders, and usurpers lay in wait for an attempt to seize power. From your capital at Sirmium, you must hold off invading barbarians and prepare to meet the major contenders. Palmyra to the southeast, and Gallic Rome to the west. Act quickly. March to Latium and seize control of Rome itself. Remember, there are territories in Asia Minor, Numidia, and Mauritania still loyal to you. Priceless allies in these dark days. In the name of Sol Invictus, go forth and restore our world.
Okay, hold the following settlements, Rome. That's our objective in this early time. Banditry and squalor are mechanics they imported from later campaigns. And we're going to have quite a bit of trouble. We are going to be beset on all sides, and this province of Dacia historically Right here is our Czar Mizigatusa. Sorry, it took me a second. Still working on the coffee. Um, he abandoned. He pulled back across the Danube and would not. He did not try to defend it and establish a series of forts along the border. We can't really do that because we unfortunately have more border to defend than is reasonable. We're going to have a pretty difficult time here in the short term. Let's see. Yeah, so we have economic issues. We barely have a food surplus. We're barely making credits. That's not enough for any large amount of forces to be established. Our military does start fairly strong. See, imperial rule restored. Let's see. We have governance, economy, and culture, both of which would be very useful. Wow, one turn. We've got to get assumed power. We can't even get tier 2 settlements. That's going to be important for garrisons and the like. Let's look at our diplomatic situation. Everyone hates us. That's cool. So Numidia is a client state, but they don't particularly like us. We definitely want to get a trade agreement and try to make sure that they stay on our side. Mauritania, another client state, same. In fact, we're going to go ahead and do that with all of our client states. Okay, let's see. Lydia, and the last time I played this campaign fell fairly quickly, unfortunately. Galatia. So all our client states do like us, and they do usually stay loyal, but whether or not they can survive against the forces that beset them is a different question entirely. Is there any other trade? The Maori, man, actually Garmantia, can we get non-aggression with them? No. But we can get trade, and that could lead to non-aggression eventually. Yeah, the last thing we're going to want is African tribes that are southern border, because we want to frankly not have to have any legion stationed down there. Because one thing this game does not accurately represent, we don't have a true comitatances like Galenius established, and that can be problematic. I'll leave Maori alone for now. Bosporu, I don't think they'll last long, but no trade. That's unfortunate. Colchis. There we go, a little bit of trade. Okay, so let's see our economic situation now. From like 3,800, I think, to 5,000, so that's nothing to sneeze at. Now let's look at the commitment of our legios. Aurelian himself was a brilliant commander who was only emperor for 5 years before he was assassinated. I've made the mistake in previous games of trying to move into Petrodaba. I don't think that'll be wise. I think if I could take these two provinces, that would be helpful. And then establish a legion here and a legion here to defend against the... Well, see, that's problematic because the Quadi are going to be very difficult as well. The problem is we're tasked with retaking Rome with the Roman pretenders and the Gallic and the Palmyrene Empire. However, at the same time, we're beset by barbarians. You know what might be good is establishing a buffer state, if we can, of some sort. Do we have any spies? No spies. Let's get one right off the bat. Because knowledge of what the enemy's doing is going to be huge. We're definitely going to need a legion down here. in Macedon. So establishing our military presence and establishing our economy are both important. Africana is, of course, in Africa, and we'll leave them there, and we frankly won't touch them. Illyrica will move into the Dacian regions. We need to immediately boost. We're going to need another legion up here. And then, of course, we have the political matters to worry about as well. We're protected from civil war for a time. The Patricii Council has a lowish loyalty to start out. We are empire though, so that's good. It's more stable politically than a republic. Why are you also disloyal? Xenophobic. The government type is good. Diplomat is bad. Hates Easterners. Traditionalist and government type. Interesting. Well, let's see. This will mainly be a garrison force, so we can put them with the Patricii Council. And frankly, Cataphractarii bodyguard will be sufficient. Scutarii are not necessary. Yeah, Cataphractarii. They're cheapest, so they're probably what we want anyway. Actually, I would totally take an infantry bodyguard in this province if it was an option. Just because this is just going to be a bulwark. We want to defend the walls. So, archers, the Germanic hunters, are actually really strong in this campaign. And while they're expensive to recruit, they're not too bad on the upkeep, so that's nice. Good missile damage, better than skirmishers, good range. There's really no reason to get the skirmishers, to be honest. Yeah, melee defense is better, but eh. And what is a cheap defensive unit? Okay, one of the levies. Foxmen have almost no armor. Melee defense. Yeah, Roman levies. They have no charge bonus, but they don't need to. And that's going to be our garrison army. These Roman legionaries are gold in the beginning. We want to protect them at all costs. Get another levy. Now I've got to spend some resources expanding my economy, or I'm going to be in trouble. So what's protected? In my experience, Africa is a 50-50. Sometimes you get invaded, sometimes you don't. Italia, we can't really even think about touching for some time. Greece, I've had pretty good luck with. So economically, we could establish a farm and something to deal with the banditry. Banditry gets food export penalty and a bandit threat. It becomes a real problem in this game. So we need to build procurators via in similar buildings. In Athenae, same thing here. We could use some food, and I think that's all we're going to be able to establish. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be our first turn. Do we have anyone we can actually get some money from? Maybe Egypt? Oh, maybe not. Galatia. No, they don't want to give us, client states don't want to give us any money. And there's no non-client state that likes us enough to give us money, so c'est la vie. I think that's going to be our turn. Oh, edicts. Yes, Thessalonica. Oh, what are our edict options? Romanization could be useful once we start conquering. Wealth from commerce. Food. That's a possible, that might be good eventually. I think we're going to get our food situation under control pretty quick. Public order. You know, bread and games might be good. 10% loyalty to the political party and 15% tax rate. Well, let's look. What is our highest tax province? All of them have good loyalty right now, so that's not a worry. Macedonia. Good. So tax rate would be good in this situation. And also look at our political map. Macedonia is actually ruled by the Patricii Council, who is not particularly loyal. So is Atheni. Let's take Atheni and give it the party loyalty edict. And that will help prevent civil disruptions. Now, how many edicts can we establish? 3. Well, then let's look. Our second most profitable province is Africa. See, so we want to. Food is low, banditry is moderate. And we even have a procurator's via. Well, let's go ahead and do the tax harvesting here. We may want to establish another farm and maybe even another procurator's via. I don't remember, I didn't look if there are garrison buildings. Garrison buildings would be so useful. Okay, now I think that's our turn. Yeah, on to turn 2. Marcomanni peace treaty, and they want to pay me for it? Hell yeah. They like the Quadi, so this actually could help our chances with the Quadi as well. The Quadi are a thorn in the side, and they're very treacherous, at least in my previous experiences. Okay, we have the assume power. What? Research complete. Assume power. How are we still researching assume power? Oh, we researched Imperial Rule restored. Well, that's nice. My bad. I didn't realize it was pre-research. So we got 1 public order. That's good. 2 food. And 5% wealth from all sources. That's fantastic. Now we'll work on assume power. I'm a dumb and I can't read. Okay. Petrodava. I think we want to try to go establish a client kingdom as soon as we get... Yeah, as soon as we get our legion here up in strength. And another spy, because knowledge is power. Wait, where's our second spy? Oh, 1 of 3. Again, I'm not very smart. Okay, good. This settlement at Quincum, total nightmare of a settlement, because it's going to be the Quadi and me back and forth. And this is where it's really difficult to decide if it's even worth defending. So establish Viri Perfectissimi. Another legion here with a small garrison. We've got to save some of our finances for economic development. And here, even with the procurators via, we still have a ton of banditry. We can eventually... That's right. I recall now. Once we get assume power, there's 3 different versions, but the most useful one, well, is the Vigilis Urbani and Cohortus Urbani. They cost food quite a bit, but they give us a garrison, a small one, but bonus against agent actions, minus banditry, plus sanitation, plus public order, plus rank for champions, plus tax rate. It's fantastic. Rationalis, public order, small banditry, dignitaries, not worth it. Frumentari into the Agentis and Rebus. Mainly on wealth. Yeah, no. The cohorts, Vigilis Urbani and Cohortus Urbani, those are super important because not only are they going to give us a small garrison, they're also going to reduce banditry. And banditry has all sorts of negative effects. Minus food export penalty and bandit threat. So they give us negative events. They reduce our income, as I recall. I was trying to see if they had any sort of specific modifier, but I guess not. Okay, let's go through our provinces. Oh, we do have this fleet that is frankly probably going to be useless because we don't face a lot of naval threats. We should probably move it up to Carthago to help defend there because there is a possibility of the Roman pretenders coming in with a invasion force. A fleet here in Apollonia would be good, actually. The tower hexaremes are awesome, but they're also very expensive. Very expensive, so we're going to have to go with the Balearic Slingers, which should be plenty fine against boarding ships. Let's give it at least one ship, and now we have almost no money. What can we establish? I think another farm would be in order. We're about to get 4 food, but you never want to get in a food negative in this game. Yeah, and our provinces, these 2 armies, once they're established, we'll want to go forward. Hopefully, I think we're able to make a client state here, conquer these 2 in the name of Rome, and then hopefully call this a border, but no guarantees that we'll be able to do that. Okay, I think that's going to end this turn, and I think it's going to end this video. I'm going to put a cut in here, and hope to see you in the next video.